Well, first of all, Food for the Poor is woven into the fabric, the DNA of the Mike Gallagher Show. Years ago, my late wife told me, instead of just jawboning about issues, why don't you take your big audience and make a difference in people's lives? Thanks to Food for the Poor and the mission trips I've been on over the years and traveled all over the world, I witnessed, as you guys know firsthand, poverty, the likes of which I've never seen before. As a spokesman for Food for the Poor, to convey that sense of urgency to our audience. You can't wait weeks or months when somebody is starving today.
Welcome to Beyond the Plate. I'm Paul Jacobs, where food is more than just a meal. It's a powerful way to connect, inspire, and transform.
We call it tertulia, a gathering where bonds are formed and stories are shared.
Get ready to dive into real stories that inspire, challenge, and nourish the soul.
I'm Daniel Patiño, inviting you to join our tertulia and explore how food and connection can truly transform lives.
Let's go Beyond the Plate. So I got to ask you, Danny, really quick.
Okay. All right.
What do you think of when I ask you or tell you a title? I'm going to use this really interesting title, The Happy Conservative Warrior. No, I'm serious. No, I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
It like conjures thoughts between like a Mr. Rogers meets William Wallace, the character from Braveheart.
Freedom! Yes! That's it. That's the one line.
You're right. Exactly. It's kind of like, it's a cross between reminding us about the helpers who Mr. Rogers so beautifully coined, I think it was his mom that said this, that the helpers get us through tough times. But then there's the never backing down against the freedoms that is at stake.
Well, you know what? You're actually describing somebody very, very near to us right now. And it's here because this is our next guest. That's how near it is. He is a best-selling author. I've written 2 books surrounded by idiots, which I hope that wasn't loosely based on the time with us today.
No, I think you wrote that before you met us.
Just in case. Fighting Liberal Lunacy in America and 50 Things Liberals Love to Hate. He's also appeared on stage and on film as an actor with feature roles in regional theater and Broadway, such as Daddy Warbucks and Annie.
It's a hard knock life for us.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, you can try that again. Tomorrow. He was also featured on Broadway in a musical in Memphis. Mike's done other stage roles that include Guys and Dolls and Funny Thing Happened. I think in one of those, Mike, I think you were casted as a radio DJ.
In Memphis. Memphis,
right.
yeah.
Was that hard?
Broadway.
Did you prepare for that? The other roles?
It was method acting, guys. It was method acting. I actually played the white DJ. It's a cool story. And first, I'll tell you real quickly. I don't want to interrupt your wonderful introduction. I mean, I'm going to give you a half hour to cut that out if you want to keep going. But of course, I go way back with Food for the Poor and Paul and Danny. It's great to visit with you guys. The musical Memphis was about 1950s segregated Memphis, Tennessee. And a great musical, one of my favorites, was a Tony Award winner. And for a period of time, they cast me as the white DJ. Now, it's important that you know the difference between the white DJ and the black DJ, because the show opened with a very boring, kind of a Casper Milquetoast white disc jockey who said, and it was in Memphis, so he started the show by saying, "We want to welcome you in, and we're listening to the hits of Rosemary Clooney and Pat Boone," and then there'd be a blackout, and then a black DJ would come on, and he was like, "We're going to give you the biggest hits from Beale Street in Memphis." It was a great contrast. So it was a cameo, but it was the opening of the show, and I got to play it at the famed Schubert Theater on Broadway. And then I went on tour and did it in about 13 or 14 cities around the country. And it was one of the highlights of my life to get to actually play Broadway for a pretty brief period of time, but it was a lot of fun. So thank you for remembering my theatrical background.
Amazing.
I love that. Welcome, Mike Gallagher, to Beyond the Plate here today. And Mike, this might be a unique thing for you when you're asking all the questions on your show, and now we're the ones asking. I mean, it feels like you're a guest at your own party or a magician who's asked to reveal his secrets.
I'm not used to this. I'm kind of uncomfortable. I'm already sweating bullets.
I was about to say, are you sweating over there? I could probably
I hope you guys don't treat me the way sometimes I treat some of my guests, particularly people who disagree with me.
Not at all. Not at all. No. Not at all. We're family here. Mike, Food for the Poor has some guiding principles, and one of those is urgency. And when we think of this, I remember the calls we got from you in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. This is late September of 2022 that devastated communities in the Gulf Coast of Florida. And you were calling Food for the Poor to ask, how can I help now?
Yeah.
Now, this is 1 month after our annual campaign with you to help serve families in Latin America and the Caribbean, which you raised over $107,000 for life-saving food for children and families. And then in the aftermath of Ian, through your listeners, you then went and raised over $83,000, which was raised in over
10 days.
10 days.
10 days.
In 10 days to deliver that much needed hurricane relief supplies for those hurricane survivors. Now, how can I help now? That's just a simple but powerful question. If someone asked you, Mike, this after a disaster, how would you answer them?
Well, first of all, Food for the Poor is woven into the fabric, the DNA of the Mike Gallagher Show. Years ago, my late wife told me, instead of just jawboning about issues, why don't you take your big audience and make a difference in people's lives? And Food for the Poor has such a special place in my heart. In fact, as Paul well knows, there's a house now in Jamaica, the Denise Gallagher house, that a family in Jamaica lives in, that Food for the Poor built in honor of my wife, who passed away from cancer in 2008. And she still is very much a part of my heart, and I carry her with me everywhere. And I remember her indomitable spirit. And she and I didn't often agree politically. I was married to a Democrat, so we had some feisty dinner table conversations, but she ultimately it respected what I do for a living, and she supported me even though we didn't always agree. And she really believed in the mission of helping do good, of helping people who are in poverty. And thanks to Food for the Poor and the mission trips I've been on over the years and traveled all over the world, I witnessed, as you guys know firsthand, poverty, the likes of which I've never seen before. And so it was always my goal as a spokesman for Food for the Poor to convey that sense of urgency to our audience. You can't wait weeks or months when somebody is starving today. You can't wait 3 weeks from now when somebody doesn't have clean drinking water. You can't wait a month or 6 weeks when somebody's living under a tarp on the side of a hill and confronting mudslides and the elements. And so Food for the Poor and the Mike Gallagher Show over the years have sort of presented this urgency to our audience. And look, over the years, I am just blown away by the generosity of the audience. It's not me. It's not even you guys. It's not Food for the Poor. It's the blessing that is this audience. I often brag that the Mike Gallagher Show audience is the most generous audience in the country. And, you know, we often have playful competitions with some of our fellow Salem shows.
Oh yeah.
And look, I always kick their butts. Our show always wins. We always come out on top, much to the chagrin of Hugh Hewitt, who often, you know, has to come in second or third. But it is playful. And of course, the beauty of competing is that together, combined, we're all doing a lot of good. Well, we're combining all of our audiences who lovingly donate to children in Guatemala, who lovingly support families in Haiti, who lovingly step up and say, we're going to save lives today. And so, Danny, you're so right about the urgency and that sense of urgency. And I'm very gratified that over the years, our audience seems to recognize it, and they will continue to do so for years to come.
Gallagher's Army.
If
we can just take a moment to recognize them, since we're on the topic of the audience. We're talking about, Mike, you have been working hand in hand with Food for the Poor for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Gallagher's Army has raised millions of dollars. Homes have been built for families who now live under safe shelter. Children and families, entire communities fed with healthy, nutritious food. Their health is back on track. Water has been provided. We're talking about safe water from the options where it was a stream, a field, just terrible water conditions were first getting their water. Now they get safe and clean water. Meals delivered to displaced Ukrainian families. Let's not forget that in 2022. Yeah. Hurricane relief sent right here at home in 3 different hurricanes within the past 2 years. And now you see the hurricanes Helene and Milton striking 13 days apart in the West Central Florida area. I mean, others were busy reporting the news, and you were helping, and your listeners were helping families to pick up the pieces and rebuild. It's staggering.
Well, it is staggering because every single time we put out the call to help, they step up. And look, I'll be very candid. I always worry before every campaign we do. I'm always stressing that it's not going to work, that people aren't going to look. We've had a lot of challenges financially. The economy is tough. People with inflation are having a hard time buying groceries. People are having a hard time paying the rent, paying the mortgage. Yet no matter how challenged we may be as a country, the Mike Gallagher Show audience continually steps up. And Paul, you're right. I mean, I'm a Floridian now. A few years ago, I moved out of New York City. The taxes and the quality of life chased me out, and I decided to move to the free and fair state of Florida. I love it here, but boy, the hurricanes have been devastating. People have no idea outside of the zone of Milton or Helene what Floridians have gone through. What people in Western North Carolina went through is unimaginable. It's almost indescribable. And this is the beauty of our show's partnership with Food for the Poor. I mean, it's astounding. We've never had a campaign that fell flat. Every single campaign seems to soar. And I'm in a perpetual state of gratitude at the generosity of our audience. It'd be kind of fun. I've never done this. I've always wanted to kind of total up what we've done over the years. That would be kind of crazy to see just how generous our audience is. I don't know what the number is, but I do know that our audience never fails to heed the call. And you're right, Paul, there was a time I would sound the trumpet. We'd say, all right, Gallagher's army, we got to go. We got an army of people that we need to step up here because we got a lot of hurting people. We got a lot of starving children. We've got a lot of homeless families that can use your help. And so we'll sound the bugle and we get the army mobilized. And it's honestly, guys, it's the most fulfilling, rewarding aspect of my job. You know, I've been doing this for 45 years. I've been at this since 1978, and I've been a big mouth in front of a microphone or a camera. And it was only until
Broadway show.
And a Broadway show, yeah. But I've never been able to get this kind of fulfillment and this kind of satisfying relief in making a difference in somebody's life. And again, it's all our audience. There's nothing like the American people. They step up when called upon. And it's a true blessing. It's a true blessing.
In almost 20 years, millions of dollars have been raised just in these last 2 hurricanes in Florida, Helene and Milton, more hundreds to the tune of almost 700 families literally picking up the pieces because of the efforts of the Gallagher Army. But this is the interesting thing. We talk about the fun that he has with regards to these campaigns. Okay, this is, I've never told this. I've never told you, Mike. I've never told anybody this story. I'm at NRB, and I'm standing next to the great sage from South Central, Larry Elder. And he comes up to me and my boss at the time, Alice Marino. You remember Alice, Mike?
Of course,
and
love her.
He says, so what's Mike's secret sauce? What do you think he's doing out there? What do you think? You know, this is like about a month or so before the campaign. And I said, well, you know, he rallies his listeners. He gets behind it. You know, Larry, I just, you know, he's just got a real heart for this. He goes, I got something coming for him. He's the true north.
And he delivered. Let me tell you what he did. Well, and let me also, as Paul Harvey used to say, give you the rest of the story. Right. Because I remember that campaign like it was yesterday, because let me tell you what Larry did. Larry's like Hugh Hewitt. They don't like to lose.
Right.
And so Larry was fired up that I kept blowing everybody away with our campaign success. And Larry, he wrote to me too. He said, Mike, what's your secret? And in a rare moment of cockiness, and I regret it to this day, I should have never done this. I stupidly said, Larry, I'm just that good. Well, that gave him a sense of determination and purpose. And I do begrudgingly need to report that one campaign
Right.
Larry blew me out of the water. Larry actually won that campaign, as I remember. That was a number of years ago, Paul, but he did. He won, and he was the happiest guy in the world. And you know what? For one time, I didn't mind giving him the win. I'll take the loss because we still did great. We had a great campaign, and it was my fault because I should have never said something as cocky and as arrogant as I'm just that good. I didn't even mean it. I was trying to be a smart aleck, and boy, I paid the price in the end.
Wow, that's amazing. So we see what gives him the extra gear that he goes into with these campaigns.
Definitely.
And also he's feeding others. So let's keep that up. I love it. You know, it's amazing when we think, Mike, back to 2008. You brought this up about Denise and the home that was built in honor of Denise. It's that mom, Patricia Farquharson, that was a mother in Jamaica that had a home built in St. Elizabeth in honor of your late wife, Denise. And it's still an enduring place in your heart. It's all of us. I mean, it's something that is really stands out for all of us for what was, what that meant to you.
Well, you guys are family, and you know that I married a single mom. And so I witnessed what she went through as a single mom, as we were dating and we fell in love. And it was a little daunting for me because I wound up, marrying into a family of 5. I mean, she had four little boys, and it was a time when a lot of my friends said, "Don't walk, run away from this. You do not want to take over and marry into a household." And I in very short order adopted the boys. We had a great life together. I have so many warm memories, and so many special still connections. And now I've got 4 grown guys that are doing great all over the country. I've got a 16-year-old granddaughter, Lily Denise, who was born a few months after Denise passed away. And so I know I have a special place in my heart for single motherhood. And so to know that house was built for a single mom in Jamaica, you're right, Paul. It'll stay with me for the rest of my life. Going back years later and seeing the house, as you guys let me do, was one of the most memorable experiences of my life. And I know Denise is smiling from heaven and really happy that there's a family that is living in a house with a door and windows and lock, and protected from the elements in her honor and in her memory. It just means more to me, guys, than you'll ever know.
Bear Brews! Picture this. You're brewing an incredible craft beer, but entering the non-alcoholic market feels impossible. Well, we're talking about too much cost, too much risk. Sound familiar?
That's where Bear Brews rolls in, literally. They're your mobile partner for advanced de-alcoholization and pasteurization. Say that 5 times fast.
Can't.
No capital investment, no hassle, just results.
Their mobile tech lets you create non-alcoholic beer without losing that flavor your fans love. Same beer, huge new market.
Oh, and here's a game changer.
All right.
They recover the alcohol byproduct. You can use it to create seltzers, cocktails, you name it. More products, more revenue. Bear Brews!
Based in North Carolina, Bear Brews works with craft breweries like yours. Whether you're brewing 2,500 barrels or 200,000, that's a lot. They bring the tech to you.
Want to test the waters? Oh, I see what you did there. They even do small batch trials to prove the market, no upfront costs, zero risk.
So stop putting that non-alcoholic market and seltzers on hold. Bear Brews is here to help you grow without breaking the bank.
Ready to grow your craft brew empire?
Sure am.
Visit bearbrews.com right now. That's bearbrews.com.
The mobile tech, the results, the partnership. I'm talking about Bear Brews. Let's make your beer the next best thing.
Well, I'll applaud to that.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Bearbrews.com. That's BARE brews.com.
Yeah, we want to mention the Gallagher's Army that's affected lives in Latin America and the Caribbean over the years. And some of those families that we've changed in Haiti, like the Antoine family of 5, the Lermy family, a husband and wife, a young couple like the Perrier Louis family, and an elderly couple like Mr. and Mrs. Carolou, who have spent all their adult life in poverty. What do you say about that, Mike?
Well, this is what you guys are. This is what Food for the Poor does. You take, you give hope to the hopeless. you feed the hungry, you clothe the naked. Food for the Poor is an organization that is one of the most powerful presences in the world. I mean, when I first learned about Food for the Poor, we began doing these campaigns, and I got to travel over to Honduras and to Jamaica and to Haiti and to see firsthand the work, the fruits of your labor. It's what it's all about. And these are, I fear sometimes that, we hear about the plight of people in other parts of the world, but you don't really understand it. You don't recognize it. When I would see the depth of despair and just people straggling to try to find a little morsel of food to get them through 2 or 3 days at a time, it was overwhelming. And that's why I came back from those trips every time more determined than ever to make a difference and to assist Food for the Poor and to let our audience contribute to this beautiful blessing that is your organization. There's nothing like Food for the Poor in the world. And again, you guys make it a joy for me to come to work and know that there'll be another campaign. There's going to be another opportunity for people to step up.
Always thankful for you, Mike. Thank you.
Now, when you talk about unexpected, we've got an unexpected person that wanted to say a few words to you, Mike, before we close the show.
Mike Gallagher. A few names here at Food for the Poor embody the heart and soul of our mission like yours. This year, we celebrate together with you almost 20 years of service to vulnerable communities, whether in Latin America, the Caribbean, Ukraine, the borders of Turkey and Syria, or right here at home in Florida. Your compassion has led to more than $2 million raised, helping those truly in need. Food for the Poor has received tens of thousands of gifts and donations from your audience who, like you, are looking forward to what the next 15 years will bring together. Truly, thank you, Mike.
Wow. That's amazing. How did you know that? I just said a few minutes ago, I wondered how we could total it up over the years. Wow.
Here at
You ask, you should receive.
Here at Beyond the Plate, we go beyond, over, and above.
Yes.
But you just set us up for our end of every show. We always end on a positive note. Wow, that was good.
I like that.
You really did it for Mike Gallagher. You've been practicing?
You got it. I had to. For Mike. I had to practice today.
Good harmony. Good harmony.
I appreciate it. All right. Yeah.
We can get on Broadway with Mike.
You see, I'm done.
No, there's only room for one star.
Semi-tan radio DJ.
Wait, he said that to Larry Elder. Now he just said it to us. We're coming for you now.
It's on.
Challenged you. I know.
Challenge accepted.
I should have learned my lesson.
We end every episode on a positive note, but in this particular time, we're going to end on a positive act. And so we have Tracy in the studio there with you, Mike, because we have something that we wanted to present to you. And if they're hearing us now, could we please present Mike with a special honor from Food for the Poor?
Wow. Well, I wonder why she was hovering. It's beautiful.
This special honor is called the Christ the Beggar statue. It is a very special meaning to Food for the Poor. You can find the life-size version of that statue in our entryway to Food for the Poor's headquarters.
I've seen it. I know. I recognize it,
Yes.
Paul, from when I've been to your offices.
Great.
The artist who designed that statue said, "I'm devoted to creating artwork that glorifies Christ." And the only way that you can see the face of Christ is when you prostrate yourself. And you have served Food for the Poor and the families that Food for the Poor serves in the same way. And so today, this episode, this moment, we honor you, Mike Gallagher.
Oh, this means more to me than you'll ever know, and this will enjoy a very prominent place in my home and in my heart. And you guys at Food for the Poor are my heart, and I will continue to try to bless as many people as possible, doing the Lord's work and with this brilliant, beautiful, generous audience. And I will always treasure this. Thank you for this, and thank you for your partnership and your love and your stewardship. I'm proud to be part of your family, and I'm glad you're part of mine.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
All right, fist bump. Big fist bump, Mike. Can we get a
big fist bump before you go?
There we go.
Don't make me cry. You guys, it's not fair to make me cry. Not fair to make me cry, guys.
You're in front of family. Let them roll.
I love this. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. I will absolutely treasure this forever. I appreciate it.
you just went beyond the plate.
Don't miss out on a chance to make a real difference, folks. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at beyondtheplate.podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay connected by texting Best Bite to 51555.
You're going to get a cool link, and we look forward to having you with us on the next episode of Beyond the Plate.